Alright, so whenever you start keeping chickens, or if you're thinking about getting chickens, you might be on Pinterest or wherever looking at all these different coops, trying to figure out what is the right one. How do I know it's the right size? So what I thought I could do is just kind of go over different options for coops and why they need what they need in them. So let me just show you kind of, I know in some of my other videos you guys have seen my coops or my coop, but I'm just going to kind of show you a different view of it, of why we did what we did, and we'll go from there. So let's head outside. Hello, my beautiful boy. Sweet girl. Okay, so as you can see, the outside of my coop is metal, and it has a metal roof. But the inside of it is wood. So in between, we're going out of focus, sorry about that. In between the wood and the metal, we have our 19 insulation. And these boards are just pallets that we broke apart. But the roof, we're going out of focus again, sorry about that, you can see is metal. So this used to be a farrowing pen, and that's why it has power, because they used it for that. But I don't run heat lights anymore. Now I used to have to run heat for them, but I don't anymore. So we just went along. Oh, we're still going out of focus. I am so sorry for that. And used, like I said, pallets, but we put insulation in them. Now for the front of the coop, this used to have two big doors, one right there and one right here. And actually this whole side, basically when you opened up the doors, all four, because they were double doors, the whole front of it opened up. But they was allowing too much cold air in there. So we made this door shorter using the same wood and closed up that side. And we added a plexiglass window and made this side solid. Someday this coop will get a new paint job. But by doing this, it allowed us to block a lot of the cold air that was coming in. And then of course, by insulating the inside of it, we were able to eliminate a lot of the cold air that goes in there. And this side just has paneling, which blocks any breezes. Now this right here, this is the back side of my top nesting boxes. And then in this room, we did the same thing. So that's where the plexiglass window is, but this wall right here also is insulated, and that wall is insulated. This side actually just goes into another division of the coop. Now for the nesting boxes, we have these ones down here and these ones up here. These ones up here are bigger, so they can handle, they're actually 12 by 12, so they can handle our bigger girls. Although if you see down here, I have another broody hen. These ones are 10 by 10. These are great for like the silkies and the bantams. We also have a window right here. So this coop does get plenty of light between that window, their little doors. They have another door on the other side of there, and this, and then during the day, of course, I open it up and it lets fresh air in here. For roosts, I took tree branches and screwed them to the walls, so they have plenty of area to perch. And then of course when I did the scrub down, this is an old curved shower curtain rod that I used as a perch. I haven't seen anybody on it yet, but we'll see. They've also got perches over here. Now this one, I just used an old piece of PVC pipe. And then right there is our thermostat. And I keep that center coop. We've got more perches over here. So So there's plenty of perches for everybody. And then I have lower ones because the silkies can't quite get up to the top ones. And then one above it. Now in this room I have a shelf. I actually used to keep stuff in here, and then I do have a perch on this side. I have one chicken that she just, I don't know, she loves sitting on the shelf and prefers that over a perch, and she just hangs out in there by herself. But it's all covered up so that, you know, no cold air can get through there. This door, as you can see, is only chicken wire, but by the time you close the big front door, it actually will block the wind from there. Now this run is pretty basic. There's not a whole lot in here other than their food and their water. I do have another pen if I need to separate anybody for a day. But if we're at night, they wouldn't go in there. I would do something else for them. Unless they're really tiny, like bantams, then I do have a little house in here that they can actually fit in, but it's got a super tiny door. And that is also insulated. Now this run, I've got swings and also little mirrors hanging. Each run does have a dirt bath in it. Baby pools I found work really well for that, and it being end of season, you can pick them up pretty cheap. Now the other the other run does not have a roof on it, whereas this one does. So, you know, if you're not going to have a roof over it, or you do allow them to free range, you want to make sure that there's plenty of trees for them to hide under from predators. And they've got a little shaded area, and then this actually had a whole bunch of grazing grass seed growing out of it, but then when all the babies hatched, they discovered they could stick their heads in there and pretty much demolished it. So they've got perches in here, swings, mirrors, dirt bath. There's the ramp for them to go into the coop at night. We're being supervised here. Hi, Tom Tom. Now, as far as the outside of the runs, as well as the coop, you can't see it because it's buried, but we have chicken wire buried about I would say about a half a foot down, and it comes about 1.5 feet to 2 feet out all the way around the coop. And that prevents predators from being able to dig in. So the dirt has already, of course, you know, covered over it, but it is all the way around, even down here, so that they can't dig under and get through. And then it goes all the way around with chicken wire all the way around each run, and then connects back at the other side. So I don't know if you're really going to be able to see it, but the bigger run that doesn't have the roof on it, they are protected. I don't know, can you see the bird netting? It goes from the run all the way up to the top of the barn. So that protects them from that side. This side is open on the top, but there's all those trees there. So it is harder for a hawk to swoop down and pick something up, because he would have to come in and go out the exact same way. Now, I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's just harder. Now for our ducks, because I don't have very many, I've got 8 females. Their house is up off of the ground, and then they have ramps to get in. I do have a battery operated door because I do not have power over here. We have a vent for air, and the roof is metal, but as you can see, it's wood, then foam insulation board, and then the metal. But as far as the inside, This is my clean out door. You can see the door has spray foam in it all the way around. This is also insulated with R19. And then they have a little window over here that I use mostly for winter time when they're hanging out in there, because they don't want to be outside. That way they at least have some sunlight. But it's pretty thick, and it's like that all the way around. Now their roof is not insulated on the inside. And see that we have a partition wall, so when they go around that wall, that's where they get in. And that just makes it harder for larger animals to get in here. You know, should they come in during the day, the ducks can come in, but larger animals can't really make that turn. But even though it is not insulated on the inside, it is insulated here. And then you have the metal roof. That is their pond, but it needs to be cleaned. Today's actually cleaning day, but I wanted to go ahead and get this video done for you real quick, and then I will clean the pond. Tom, am I doing a good job? Do you approve? He's so graceful. So there's a lot of different coop styles you can choose from, whether you're buying it or building it yourself. You can turn an old shed into a chicken coop, or like I did, an old farrowing pen just by closing it in. I have seen the ones at Tractor Supply that do say that it holds up to 10 birds. I do not recommend that. So how do you know what size coop to buy or even build? Things you want to consider are the types of chickens that you have. So if you have bantams, then they need at least 2 square feet per bird. Your standard breed is about 3 to 4 square feet, but your Brahmas are 5 to 6 square feet per bird. In their runs, though, if you do not free range, or you have a run for times that they just need to be in a secure area, then your bantams need 3 square feet. Your standard breed needs about 5 square feet, but your Brahmas need as much as 12 to 14 square feet. You do not want to overcrowd your birds, and try to keep the average ratio of 1 rooster to 10 hens. This will prevent a lot of behavior problems. So you may ask, why do chickens and ducks need an indoor place to sleep? In the winter, they do need protection from cold weather. Their feathers will keep an insulated layer of warm air between their feathers and their skin. If they are in the wind, it is actually physically impossible for a chicken or a duck to stay warm, or if they're wet from snow or rain. Inside of a coop, up on perches, they are not only off the ground because heat rises, but they use the body heat from each other to keep warm. Most chickens can handle as low as 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but different breeds have different needs. For bantams, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is too cold. They can handle about as low as 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Chickens or roosters with large combs are actually at a high risk of frostbite, which is very painful to them. Now, even though our coop is insulated, because of the metal roof, it does get about 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in there when the outside temps are below freezing. That is why we do have the thermometer in there to watch the temps, because we do have different breeds. The duck house, as I showed you, is also insulated, but ducks are prone to frostbite. We actually have a rescue that came from a place that had no shelter, and the duck lost 2 toes and the webbing in her feet. Now, as far as ducks go, they can handle lower temperatures like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but they still need a dry place to get out of the weather, and straw or pine bedding to nestle down in. They need a place to get their feet warm and avoid a loss of limbs. Now, ducks do love the rain, but high winds, sleet, ice, and even snowstorms can be very stressful for ducks. Even if they go out during the day for a little while, they need a place to go in, especially if the temperatures start dropping day or night. So why do chickens need perches? Well, it's actually a natural instinct for chickens to want to be up off of the ground. This helps them feel safe and protected while they sleep. It also allows them to sleep without standing in their feces. Good sleep actually will play a very important role in the health of a chicken. At night, chickens are actually blind, so if they're up on a perch, their feet are gripped onto something, and again, it makes them feel safe. It'll reduce the stress in a chicken, which will in turn promote good egg laying. So for the length of your perches, you need about 9 to 10 inches for bantams and 10 to 12 inches per bird for your standard or your Brahmas. As you can see from these photos, you can get really creative, even as I showed you in my own coop. You can use sticks from trees. You can even use PVC pipe. You can do the ladder method. There's a lot of different ways to get creative. The important thing is that they do have a perch. Now, as far as the nesting boxes go, believe it or not, chickens are actually very secretive and private, and nesting boxes make them feel protected and hidden. The size will depend on the chicken breed. So for a bantam, you want about a 10 by 10. And then for a standard chicken, you want about 12 by 14 or 12 to 14 inches in all directions. Brahmas, a 14 by 14. As far as deciding how many nesting boxes you need, 1 box per 4 to 6 birds is plenty. So whether you make it yourself or buy them, get creative. What's important is that they have a nice, quiet, private place to lay their eggs. So what is the purpose of a dirt bath? Well, dirt baths are primarily used for chicken runs or chickens that are kept contained and not allowed to free range. If they're allowed to free range, they'll find their own place to do it. But what it does is it'll actually remove excess oil and makes their feathers less desirable for mites and lice. What I use is play sand and organic topsoil. As you saw in my coop, I have swings and mirrors for my chickens. What is the purpose of that? Well, swings keep chickens entertained and will actually in turn reduce bullying and pecking. A lack of stimulation can cause behavior issues, obesity, and even feather pulling. As far as the mirrors go, believe it or not, chickens are very vain and enjoy looking at themselves. Well, there you have it. I know it was a lot of information and I could have gone 3-4 hours and probably still wouldn't have covered it all. Just keep in mind, it does not have to be fancy. It does not have to be expensive. Just get creative. Find different ways to keep your chickens and your ducks secure not only from the elements of the weather, but also from predators. A place they can go into when they need to get out of the sun or get away from the snow and stay warm. Just as chickens get frostbite, so do ducks, and they can lose limbs. It is very, very painful to them. So you want to make sure that you're being the best keeper that you can be and providing them with what they need. I hope this answered a lot of questions or maybe even gave you some different ideas. If you just go on to Google and just type in chicken coops, DIY, you'll find different ideas. So anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit us up on Instagram. And oh, real quick, remember this also pertains to the area that you live in. So if you're not getting below 32 degrees, then you probably don't need to do the major insulation. We get below -2 here, so we do have a lot of insulation. But we'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day.